Hi everyone, I'm Ben, and this is the Board Game Blueprint. This week we're going to be talking about tiles. We're going to have another design discussion to follow up with the one about cards that you can visit at the link below. But to sort of establish maybe what a tile is, what our working definition is for the sake of this video, I'm going to say it is a chipboard component that has a little bit of height to it that can be used in ways very similar to cards, where art and text, information, icons can be printed on them, but they'll serve some sort of purpose in the game, especially in a tile placement game. That is to say, a mechanic in which players will be putting these tiles, or these tiles, these tiles, or these tiles, or any other shape that you can imagine onto a playing surface and kind of creating a board that way. So very versatile in their shape, in their different thicknesses as well, and hopefully their uses as we will come to find out. So let's jump on in, and hopefully we'll hit on a lot of considerations that tiles can fulfill for a design. Tiles are used in a pretty interesting way in a sort of area control aspect in End of the Trail. So players will use action cards to alternatingly visit different tiles on the map and thereby get to take a peek at the hidden values underneath. Now at that point, players can then decide whether or not they want to set up camp by dropping a tent, or push their luck by keeping the tent off the tile and searching under a different one on a later turn. Now, I feel that the pieces and the tiles themselves really set up a cool kind of narrative. It basically is a scaled down version of the Wild West, and setting up different camps and prospectors going around the region to explore, or at least to excavate and look for gold. I think that's a neat thematic use of the tiles, and it really gives you an appreciation for the experience players can get from a board game. At the beginning of every turn in Raiders of the North Sea, players must place a tile from their hand and build it following the rules such that no blue water touches an open green edge. This twist on the other mechanics of tile placement means that players have a definitive choice, or have a difficult choice, in what they do on their turns to best support themselves while also not trying to give their opponents too many extra options. In this game, resources or livestock will populate the tiles placed, and players will then move around the board to collect, pick up, and deliver the livestock home for points. As you might imagine, the board will be able to grow in quite a different way every game based on how players decide to put these tiles down. In another game with square tiles, Vast the Crystal Caverns will build as the players explore the dungeon, explore the cave when they take their actions throughout the game. By moving onto a dark tile, the knight will reveal the effect or outcome of the tile, resolve it, and also then expand the cave based on the cave player's choices of tiles in their hand. Very similar to Explorers of the North Sea, based on player decisions, the cave will grow to a different layout every game. And with the different roles, will interact with those tiles in different ways. Vast also excels in the idea that these dark tiles, before being flipped over, are unknown, as if the player were venturing into a dark cave. Now, different abilities, like the dragon's fire breath, for instance, can reveal said tiles by torching them or illuminating the area, while the goblins prefer to scurry in the dark and sustain damage the longer that they are in the light. One thing I forgot to mention about Vast is that when one of these dark tiles are revealed, an open edge must connect back from the tile that it was seen from. This opens up a lot of choices and strategy for that cave player who is dictating which tiles are placed where. We've seen square tiles, we've seen hexagon tiles, and now we see circle tiles. In Azul, players are collecting different sets of, well, tiles to fill their tableaus. Now in the example that I saw, 4 of these tiles go onto each of these circles, and to collect these tiles, you will pick all of one color on a single tile and dispose of the rest into a public kind of market. Now, for instance, if we were to take these 2 tiles and place them onto this part of our board, at the end of the round, once all tiles, I believe, have been taken, one of these tiles will slide to its corresponding spot on the row, and the other will just kind of go off to the side. These other tiles, though, will be removed into that public area, and the blank tile will kind of indicate how much is left of the round. So these circle tiles aren't a main feature of the game, but they do serve a purpose. Now, in terms of making my own tiles for my prototypes, I like to use whatever kind of cardboard I can find, whether it is mail packages or even tissue boxes and cereal boxes. To cut them out, I will generally use either a combination of an X-Acto knife and a paper cutter, especially the one that can slide back and forth, or if you have a particular shape and have a punch from a craft store like Michael's or even just off of Amazon, you can create a bunch of tiles that you need. Maybe gluing together some of the thinner type of cardboard together, or again, using a thicker one from the beginning. I've also seen friends use or cut foam board or foam core with an X-Acto knife to great effect. And I hope a lot of these different materials can inspire you to find whatever you have around the house and creating tiles that way. And I do not own any of these games yet, but I would be remiss if I didn't also mention the tetramino tiles. That is to say, tiles that are generally a scale or a proportion of 4 squares in different combinations, like the Tetris blocks that you would see playing that game. In many of these, which have gained acclaim by Uwe Rosenberg, you will have a board similar to the one in Azul and be placing those tiles to most optimally complete some kind of pattern. Of course, the game isn't just the tiles. There's probably some kind of combinations that you can do, or synergies where the tiles next to each other or neighbor each other have a particular effect for scoring. But it's a very popular mechanic now picking up, and the market continues to push forward in the ingenuity. I think a recent release, Indian Summer, even includes holes, cutouts on the tiles for you to peek through to see what's underneath. It's a mechanic that I wanted to use for one of my prototypes. I guess I just missed it, but hey, maybe that means that it's a good idea. And I believe that's everything that I have to say about tiles, at least in time for this upload. If you feel like there was something that I missed, please leave it in the comment below and we can continue this discussion in that section. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for upcoming content like it. If you're working on a design that uses tiles in an innovative way, please share it with us. We'd love to see what it is that you're cooking up. As always, I'm Ben. This has been another episode of the Board Game Blueprint, and together, let's build something great.